106. The Board of Trustees of the Harris County Department of Education is now convened in a board meeting on Wednesday, September 19th, 2018 in the boardroom at 6300 Irving Boulevard, Houston, Texas at 1:06 p.m. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present in this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel, and appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the department are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on today's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time this afternoon to join us and for your interest in the Harris County Department of Education. The invocation will be by Julia Andrews, Center for Safe and Secure Schools.
Good afternoon. We are meeting today to conduct matters of business, the business that you have so graciously given us the opportunity to do. Guide our hearts, our minds, and our actions in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you. Thank you.
The Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and the Texas flag will be led by Lanice Hockaday, and she's with Teaching and Learning Center.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Missing the visitors and stuff. We're using a place where we put the visitors. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Okay, I don't show that we have any visitors, but I have one person that's going to address the board. Ms. Vera, Colleen Vera. Ms. Vera, before you get started, just so everybody knows, Trustee Lee Carter is joining us by remote. You'll see her.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Colleen Vera. I'm a retired teacher and a Harris County taxpayer. And I just came to ask for the next board meeting if you could have on the agenda a report about Fortis Academy. Last year y'all read it without any students and it cost the taxpayers over $1 million. This year you have 2 students and I did the document request and there are 2 students on the roll, not 6. Which right now is costing the taxpayers over $50,000 per student to stay there for the year. So I think the taxpayers really deserve a report on what exactly is your plan for this. You've got teachers that you look at their schedules and they're only teaching 1 to 2 periods a day, yet they're being paid full-time teachers, and the Texas taxpayers are covering them in TRS for life. We really deserve to understand how long is this going to go on, and what is the breaking point? When do you consider it not financially doable to keep this school open? It just seems like such a waste of money when there's so many things we could be doing out there with that money. So please put that on your next agenda and give a report to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we now have an open forum. This is the public participation pursuant to policy BED. Local assistant wishes to speak may do so by completing, oh, there you go. There was Miss Greer. Okay, so Superintendent Monthly Report, James Colbert Jr.
Thank you, President. As you know, our schools have been open. I've had the opportunity to go out and visit some of our special campuses. They're in excellent condition. Our staff is vibrant and ready to go. Students are participating, and I'm very pleased with what I've seen. This week also, I've had an opportunity to go out to some of our Head Start campuses, and I started off in a bad mood yesterday and got in a better mood as soon as I got around the little 3- and 4-year-olds. Really, really vibrant educational environment. Kids are happy. But I also need to point out and just compliment the board that I've had at least 3 employees from our Head Start campuses stop me and thank me for their raise that they got. And so that's a testament of the collaborative effort of this board coming together to advocate for the people who advocate for children every single day. And so can't tell you how much I appreciate you in supporting them for that. Finally, last month, really since I've talked to you last, we've had a convocation. This year during our convocation, our theme was Get Sized. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But it's really an opportunity for our staff to come together and fellowship, break bread together, and see people that we may only see once a year. It's an opportunity to reflect on the past year, but also to look forward to the upcoming events and understand where we're going as an organization. This year we had a special guest, a gentleman by the name of Andre Chappelle, my brother, was able to accompany me during my speech to follow up on a speech that was given last year and talking about really the effects of people overcoming adversity, especially who've battled with substance abuse throughout their life and are exercising a life of sobriety. And so it was a very powerful and emotional opportunity for me to have a family member on stage and be able to speak to our staff. And actually the next day, he and his wife followed up with some professional development with our Fortis staff and was able to speak to them. And finally, I shared with y'all earlier that the theme of our convocation was Get Sized. And I was able to have an opportunity to explain exactly what that meant. I found out that several people thought that we had misspelled the word psych. Everybody came up and said, you misspelled it, you misspelled it. But it's a term that, it's a motivational term that I have been exposed to as a child at 12 years old, growing up in the metroplex of the Washington, D.C. area that, it's really a term of endearment where one would get focused, laser focused, and step up to any challenge that they're met with. And when I think of our employees at HCDE and I think of the direction that we're going, there's no question I think of getting sized. With that, that's all I have.
We're going to have an announcement of an award from the Association of School Business Officials International, ASBO, and Dr. Mesqua.
Yes, well, on page 16 of your packet and also on page 19, we've received the announcement from the Association of School Business Officials for the award on our comprehensive annual financial CAFR for both the Association of School Business Officials and the Government Finance Officers Association. For the ASBO award is the 14th year in a row that we received that, and the 16th year for the Government Finance Officers Association. The folks that are responsible for this are here in the audience, our business department, so I'd like to have them recognized. Would you guys stand up? In addition to that, in the next item is the receive of the Annual Achievement, or rather of Excellence in Procurement Award for the National Procurement Institute. And we have this award, and I'd like to have the Purchasing Office stand up and be recognized for receiving the award for the 2nd year in a row by the National Procurement Institute.
That took care of 5B, C, and D. Annual update on the HCDE Center for Safe and Secure Schools Division. E-comment Burley, where are you at? He's not here. You don't look like he coming.
Thank you.
Shorter. A lot more hair.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Colbert, Board President Evans, and HCD trustees. My name is Julia Andrews, and I will be giving the report on behalf of the Director for Center for Safe and Secure Schools, Mr. Burley. Would you like me to present the presentation?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I would first like to recognize our mighty team. We are a mighty team of 4. So 3 of us are here today. If you guys could please stand. Thank you. The Center for Safe and Secure Schools was established in 1999, unfortunately after the events in Columbine by Harris County Superintendent's request. So our center seeks to provide innovative opportunities to and continue to build safer and more secure learning environments. A few of our services that we like to highlight are school safety, facility, and security audits, ongoing opportunities for trainings on school threat assessment, active shooter, intruderology, and NIMS. We also focus on the social emotional learning side with restorative practices and trauma and resilience training. We have a brief recap video of our year of 2018, so our year in review. So that is our quick recap of a year in review. Next, moving on, we have 32 district memberships. They include suburban, urban, and rural school districts. And with that, if you see in your packet, they have several member benefits that include, but not limited to, discounted workshops, a seat on our board operations safety planning committee, weekly safety updates, and discounted school safety audits. So our list includes in-county from Aldine to Tomball ISD, and out-of-county we have 4, Dickinson, Friendswood, Liberty, and Waller ISD. Our district served through professional development. We served this past year in-county 20, out-of-county 7, and we are now stretching our wings to charter schools, and we have served 10 charter schools over the last year with professional development. A few of our community partners include, of course, Houston ISD, Safe Plans, Mental Health of America, City of Houston Emergency Management, Harris County Emergency Management, and the United Way, just to name a few. Our trends and challenges include, 1, meeting the safety and security needs for all limited staff. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we are a mighty team of 4, so that is one of our challenges. A really good trend is we are expanding our offerings through various media outlets. We are proud that we have launched our professional development to webinars, so no one will have to leave their place of employment. They can just log on and get professional development right from their seat. And third, partnering with national and statewide organizations to provide trainings for districts. We are proud to announce that we will be presenting at 2 national conferences this year in Washington, D.C., along with a few local on the state level. Our client satisfaction rate continues to be at 91%. We are very proud of that. Our participants who attend our professional development and trainings are very satisfied with our work, so we're really happy about that. And lastly, looking ahead, just to highlight a few of our upcoming practices, we are going to service more of an internal support with our HCDE schools and facilities, continue to provide the cutting edge trainings on professional development, and we are now tapping into the social and emotional learning side with restorative practices and trauma and resilience training. Are there any questions? Oh, thank you.
Actually, I do have one. I do have a question, thank you. First of all, I want to commend you on your efforts here in having safe and secure schools. It is a vitally important aspect of the Department of Education and the training that you're providing. I noticed that in your little brochure handout, you had on here, save the date. Would
yes,
you elaborate on that?
Thank
and then
you.
I want to comment, if you would.
Okay, yes, sir. So our Save the Date, we have, we're in partnership with Children at Risk, and we will be hosting our human trafficking summit on November 13th. Registration will open in about a week, and we will bring in guest speakers. We are hosting in conjunction with Children at Risk for this event, and it talks about human trafficking, sex trafficking, child slavery, et cetera, around the Houston community.
Well, thank you for holding that. Unfortunately, Tuesday is not a date I can attend.
Oh, no.
But this is a big issue with me because Houston is one of the leading human trafficking locations in the United States. And it's something that we certainly need to make our people and employees aware of how the magnitude of this problem, and most people do not understand it. And there are a lot of organizations out there that help combat human trafficking. Some of those are faith-based and some are not, but they're all doing the best job that they can, and it's a difficult job. What I'd like to see is this department at least make some of those organizations aware if people want to get involved or to give to those, because it is an issue that all citizens of this county need to become aware of and fight against, and to let our local authorities know that when there's anything suspicious on human trafficking, that we inform them. This issue is so rampant and yet so quiet that people, I don't know whether they just want to overlook it or what, but it is it hits the most vulnerable people of our young
Absolutely.
and youth in this county. And those that are less advantaged and those that run away from home get caught in this very quickly. And so I just think anything that we can do, not just from a Harris County Department of Education, but from as a citizen of this county and this state, that we try to help that and make that aware. And I would appreciate that we certainly identify those organizations that are fighting this, and at least make it available to our employees to let them know that to get involved or to give to. And thank you. And thanks again.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Update on the HCDE Teaching and Learning Center. Frances Watson Hester.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, thank you. Again, good afternoon. I am Frances Hester, the proud Senior Director of the Teaching and Learning Center. Thank you, trustees and Mr. Colbert, for this opportunity to share our annual report. A copy has been provided for you at your desk. Is it okay that I present our annual report at this time?
Go ahead.
Awesome. I must pause for just 1 second, because none of the work that I share with you today would be possible without the expertise of a dynamic team. So at this time, I would like to have the Teaching and Learning Center staff please stand, and let's please acknowledge them. They are incredible. Thank you very much. The focus of the Teaching and Learning Center is to improve student achievement one teacher at a time. We have an array of services and programs, some that I've listed for you. We focus on professional development in the area of math, science, social studies, behavior management, and some of our programs are the National Leadership Speaker Series, Subject Area Leadership Meetings, and the Leadership Summit. Our impact on student achievement: 4 to 6 weeks after each workshop is conducted, attendees receive a survey to complete. From that survey, we've been informed that the trainings are used within 1 month, and the report shows that 81.2% of participants actually go back in the classroom and use the information within 1 month. We have several highlights, but for today I will highlight 2. Our digital education and innovation area that's facilitated by David McGarry and Lanice Hockaday. We held our first ever K-12 cybersecurity event or conference, and at that conference we had 15 districts that actually participated, and this was an opportunity for school districts to come together and have conversations about how to focus on keeping our schools safe. We are actually at this point focusing on delivering another conference in the spring. Also, as a former teacher and a former principal, I always look for opportunities to attend workshops that will give me resources that I could take back immediately into my school district or school building and work with my teachers on with professional development. So I want to highlight math. Nicole Shanahan has done an excellent job at focusing on creating workstations called Make and Takes, and teachers have the opportunity to take the Make and Takes back into the schools immediately and begin the work. We're actually focusing on the new accountability system, and our area of focus is to address students or help students that are at the approaches, meets, and also at the master's level. Our Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. HCDE has proudly served as a regional sponsor for the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards since 1993. Each fall, area schools and districts submit students' best artwork and writing to compete at the regional level. Entries are judged by panels of highly qualified professionals who select Gold Key, Silver Key, and Honorable Mention recipients. More than 1,500 students receive national awards each year. We're very proud of our youth symposium. It was the first youth symposium ever here at HCDE, and it was a collaborative effort. We were able to focus on meeting the needs of 565 students throughout the county. The focus was STEM, so students had an opportunity, or they were encouraged to set goals, initiate steps to achieving their goals, identifying intrinsic and extrinsic barriers, and becoming empowered to move past obstacles to achievement. TLC provided services to 103 entities, which included all 25 school districts in Harris County. We also served 52 districts outside of Harris County and 26 other organizations such as charter schools, private schools, and universities. TLC surpassed its goal this year at 90% for client satisfaction. We actually were at 97%. Service rating details: we had 4 noted strengths this year. The session has useful applications for my professional work at 99%. The sessions were well organized at 99%. Overall effectiveness was high, and the presenter is knowledgeable about the topic. Our 32nd annual R.T. Garcia Early Childhood Winter Conference again was a huge success. We had 22 Harris County districts that participated, 27 districts outside of Harris County, 9 private schools and charter schools, 1,000 plus attendees, 33 companies as exhibitors, and we had 2 sponsorships this year. We will continue to collaborate with various organizations around Harris County, and our specialists have played a big role in partnering with the community. HCDE specialists will continue to present at various conferences throughout the state of Texas. Our plans for new and continuing services will continue. We plan to expand our online professional learning opportunities. We want to continue to provide indirect and direct services to students and children. And as of now, we're working towards providing trainings on social emotional learning and cultural responsiveness in schools. We're also excited about our wraparound pilot to support school districts or schools that are struggling with the A through F accountability system. Our trends and challenges, workshop attendance and contracts continue to grow in spite of budget cuts. Districts are still hiring our our directors to come out and work with them instead of hiring additional staff. And the Teaching and Learning Center endeavors to identify and provide unique and high-need services for clients to address the current trends and challenges in education. Do you have any questions at this time? Thank you.
We don't have a report from the Board Feasibility Subcommittee this month. Do we have any other reports from board members concerning attendance or participation in any conference, event, activity, or committee accolades? Yes, ma'am.
I was happy and proud to help represent HCDE with the rest of the HCDE delegation at the State of the County luncheon this week, along with President Lewis Evans.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.
I have a question
Yes, sir.
for Jesus, actually. Jesus, I'm looking at the tax rate numbers, and can you remind me what is the?
Michael, let's do that when we get to it. Let's do it. It's an agenda item. We'll get to that in just a minute.
All right.
Okay. Anybody else have any other reports or anything? No? Okay. Monthly financial reports through 8/31 of 18. Jesus Musqua, Dr. Musqua.
Okay. The financial highlights and the detail is also included in your packet. So we will review the financial report as of August 31st, preliminary, and also the budget amendment report for the month of September. All our information is posted on our website. Our balance sheet as of August 31st, again, it is interim but preliminary, is assets of $33,682,364. Liabilities of $1,915,733, and equity and appropriated fund balance of $33,683,364. Our fund balance at this point in time is non-spendable $163,555, restricted, committed at $1,575,000, assigned $8,078,379. Unassigned, $16,671,140. Again, this is unaudited. Once we've finalized the audited figures, we'll bring that to you for approval at the January meeting. Our financial ratios as of August 31st, we were at a percentage of fund balance to expenditures ratio, we're at 35% versus 30% we were at the same time last year. Working capital ratio, 32 million versus 29 a year ago. Unassigned fund balance ratio, 49%, same as the year before. Debt to income ratio, we're at 7% versus 8% last year. Tax revenue to total revenue ratio, we're at 25% versus 23% at the same time last year. Indirect cost ratio, 3%, same as the year before. Fee for service ratio, we're at 23% versus 21% a year ago. Fee for service growth ratio, we're at 1%. versus 3% last year. Given that we had Harvey part of the August of last year, we didn't grow as fast as we did a year ago in terms of our service revenue. Our budgeted activity, our amendments are outlined by month. Our revenues year to date, we're at general fund 96%, special revenues 56%, debt service 100%. Overall, we're at 78% budget to actual. We still have pending end of the year adjustments and transfers that we need to make and have them reviewed by the external auditors. This is the activity for budget amendments that we present to the board each month. We have expenditures year to date at 82% in the general fund, 68% in special revenue funds, debt service 100%. Overall, we're at 72% of budget to actual and encumbrances. So we're in the process of clearing out the encumbrances for the year so that we can present the reports to the auditors and they can review as part of their annual audit for the year. Our donations year to date, we're at $8,123.37 in cash, in kind of $201,991.68, total of $210,115.05 for the year. For the month, we received donations in our Head Start division, for the most part, from the different Head Starts throughout the county. As of August, the valuations that as of August that had been certified have been $434 billion, and $1 billion still remains uncertified. So we were projecting to end up the year at $435 billion for last year. The collections year to date, we've collected $22,437,294, 99% of the overall budget. Which is, we had some refunds that basically we did not realize, some of the delinquent tax, and also some, so we are year to date at $7,983 for delinquent collections. HCAD fees and tax office fees, a total of $609,358 paid to those entities for the collection, appraisal and collection of the tax. The disbursements for the month were $4,136,001, 365 checks, 481 transactions, and 7 transfers. And the detail of all those, the payroll register, the check register is posted on our website. Segment division for selected divisions, educational certifications, minus 384,200. Records management, 207,148. Therapy services, 1,816,622. In schools at 2,876,886. Choice partners is at a positive variance of 64% ratio, and so the benefit variance is 3,277,726. in terms of our choice and enterprise activity. Our amendments for the month are only for grants for $316,758, and these are additional cost changes or rollover changes from last year. $315,902 in our Head Start program, Head Start training, $51,111, and then $30,000 for early Head Start program operations. So a total of $316,000 amendment for our grants. Construction update, we are scheduled to advertise on Monday, September the 24th. We have year-to-date $10,735,029 of earned interest and bond proceeds. And our projection is that November 2018 that we'll be able to go to the PFC board and award the contract for AB West. So September 24th will be when we first start the advertising, and then the following Monday we'll do the same, and then we'll receive the bids or proposals rather, and then award in tentatively in November 2018, and then 12 months after that for construction. Questions on the first part of the report?
This is Trustee Carter. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear? Yeah. How stable are the fees, the HCAD and tax office fees from year to year for tax collection?
They're based on the value of they're pretty stable, but when you're talking about how much we pay them to collect the tax.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do they change that every year? Do we know what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's a percentage of how much of our tax levy is, and in terms of everybody else that they're collecting as well. So they have to recalculate every year, and they let us know how much is the adjustment for the year. So, for example, if our values are going up this year, there'll probably be an increase in our tax fees as well. I'm sorry, the tax office collections and also the appraisal collections as well.
Jesus.
Yes.
But does the percentage stay the same?
Yes, because if they're collecting, well, it varies. For the most part, it doesn't go up very much because there are a lot of entities that they collect for. So I think last year it went up. I want to say about $20,000 to $30,000. I mean, it's not significant because of
I'm talking about the percentage.
I don't recall the percentage out of the top of my head, but it is a small percentage in comparison to all the other taxing entities in the county, cities, counties, MUDs that are collected.
For information purposes, why don't you let us know next time, or if you have a chance, let us know before the end of the day, if it changes or not from year to year.
Yes, I can show you a comparison from a year ago.
He's talking about percentage, not the dollar amount. He wants to know the
The
percentage.
percentages, okay.
Like the
We get a
percentage that they
report from
charge
them.
us.
We get a report from them that calculates the percentages, but I focus primarily on the dollar amount to figure out how much we need to adjust the budget for that. But I can give you the percentage of the overall
Well, he wants to know
collection.
what the Harris County Appraisal District charges HCDE to
Right.
collect the tax.
Right, that's the 164,000 so far. The percentage, yes.
Right.
Can I interject here, because I have personal knowledge of how this is done? For the appraisal district, they pass their annual budget, and then they, in effect, divide their annual budget by the taxable values of the districts to come up with the cost per district. For the tax department, they have as far as I know of, they have not changed the percentage of their charge of the amount of taxes collected for several years now. When I was there, we had a large study of what would be a reasonable fee to charge, and they were adjusted at that time. So it is a fixed percentage of the amount of the collections.
Thanks, Todd. Anybody else? Okay, Dr. Muska.
Under our investments, again, rates continue to climb up, or inch up, rather. Our investment report is posted on our website, and it is certified by the Government Treasurers Organizations of Texas. Our total portfolio is $40,784,009. Our Public Facilities Corporation is $10,735,029. The majority, 86%, is in our investment pools and the money market sweep account. The PFC is also the majority is in our tax pool, and some of it in Bank of Texas and JP Morgan Chase. The change from a year ago, it's $1,341,991, or 3% change from 1 year ago. The pretty much everything is overnight, $30,048,980. We have earned year to date $394,977, and in the PFC, 157,731. We're earning a rate of 1.92, and as the rates go up, it's just slightly under a 2.009. So you can see in this chart basically that the rates have been steadily going up about 5 to 10 basis points each month. And so because we keep our monies in cash, we're climbing the ladder as the rates are going up. There'll be a point in time that they'll reach, and then that's when we'll extend and bring different recommendations at that time. Question?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're now going to look at action items, consensus. Do I have any reservations? Reservations first, and then we do motions. Yeah.
I would like to reserve.
B3.
What is it?
Sorry.
That's her.
Oh. Hi. I thought I was looking over Diane, and you're talking. That's okay. Erica, go ahead. What'd you want?
B3, B as in boy, 3.
Gotcha.
And B1 and 3? What?
We're going to reserve 3 twice? Okay. B1 and B3, anybody else? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, motion passes 7-0. Okay, we're going to take item B, 6B1. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion. Do I have a second? Got a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing none, let's have a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? All abstaining? Okay, so I got 5-4, 2 abstaining. Okay, on B3, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Do I have any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, all abstaining? All opposed? Okay, are you abstaining or opposing? Okay. Erica?
You confused me by the order.
Okay. Are you for it, or against it, or abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay. So we have a vote of 5-2, 5-4, 2 abstaining. Okay, so we have taken care of all the consensus, so we will now go down to the action items non-consensus, which will be 7A. Do I have a motion?
I have a motion.
Got a motion from Mr. Wolf, Trustee Wolf. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Well-
Second.
My motion is to adopt the rate that we're bringing the same amount of revenue as last year.
So do you have a motion to amend?
So you want a motion to amend?
No motions on the table, and so there's nothing to amend, but if he can make a motion relating to this agenda item as he sees fit, for example, if there's a different rate that's listed there.
What do you want him to do? Do you want him to
just
make a
did.
motion first and then make a motion to amend?
No, I already
There's
made
no
my
motion
motion.
to amend, he's already made his.
Okay, so he's making a motion then. Okay, so Mike, you have a motion of what?
I want to move to adopt the rate that would be projected to bring in the same revenue as last year. And Jesus, what is that rate?
$750,000 less than what we projected in our budget.
So what's the next rate? Would that need to be, Jesus?
Calculate in a minute.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, while we're waiting on Jesus, would you like to say
Yes.
something? I guess we gotta wait till we're not to the comment section yet.
Can I be second in line for a comment?
You can. Okay, can I get a second while Jesus does the calculation?
already
I'll give it, I didn't already second, but I will second.
Okay, so we have a motion, we're waiting on the amount, so that now we have a second, now we can have discussion. Dr. Moore?
Well, I appreciate lowering the tax rate. I have no problem with that. But my concern is, before we vote on something, I want to make sure that he's done the math correct and that we've had some time to look at it. I mean, not necessarily to look at it, but that he gets the right calculation. I don't want to have to come back and say we've got the wrong calculation. So I just ask that, maybe this needs to be delayed to the end of the meeting or it's
Do you
pulled
wanna
it back.
delay this, we can skip to this and go to another one?
And go to another one until we get the
While we
right
wait.
rate. I don't want to just,
That's fine with me.
Okay. You, second line?
Thank you, Mr. President. What I would like to bring to the board's attention is that the board approved a budget back in July, was it? And if the board accepts a tax rate lower than the one that we are proposing, it's going to put us in a $750,000 budget deficit. And so the board would then be taking our entire budget and putting it in a negative. What the administration will have to do is go back and find $750,000 worth of things to cut to try to balance a budget that the board originally approved. Typically, the vast majority of that money is going to be in positions. There will be people who will lose their jobs. There have been positions that we have approved to give. There have been raises that this board approved to give, all of it based on a projected tax rate that we have had a tremendous amount of discussion about that we were going to bring to the board. It's kind of like changing the playbook right at the Super Bowl, and so I would just encourage the board to give that significant thought because we might send the organization into a tailspin.
Yes, ma'am.
I propose we go ahead and take the vote on this, and as our superintendent said, we've already voted on a budget. It's a little late in the game to be changing things, and I don't want to put in jeopardy in any of our programs for children as well.
I think
I got Trustee Lee, Carter Lee. Trustee Erica, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, President Evans. Trustee Wolf, I note that you were at the special meeting when the tax rate was discussed. I received the slides afterwards last week so I could review them. I'm not sure why you didn't bring this up to Jesus earlier because he would have had the full calculations, but
I did.
why would we want to operate in a deficit? Why would you want to cut $750,000? We're not raising, we're already going to be below the effective rate, which almost no school district does ever. What is the need to cut additional money from the budget? What are you specifically trying to cut?
Last month when we discussed this, it was about $500,000 is what Jesus had said, I believe. So that's changed, Jesus?
It is 750,000 when you compare the 22.6 in this spreadsheet and to 23.3,
So
it's
what-
750.
Excuse me, Trustee Wolf, that is not the question. The question
know-
I'm asking, why are you trying to cut?
The other thing that we've done
money from the
differently
budget?
in the last couple of months is we decided not to go forward with the special Harvey funding, which would have been about $600,000. I think that would have come out of our balance that we've got. But what I'd like to know, Jesus, is what has changed to make it $750,000 when I think a month or two ago it was about $500,000 difference.
Well, I was comparing the column C to column D versus column A to column D in the calculation. So the 500,000 is the 5167 column that you have on there in your calculation. So the rate for $500,000 will be 5167. For 750, it will be close to 5150.
All right.
Superintendent was next, then you.
Yes, sir, thank you. Just a couple things, and I want to piggyback off of some comments that were already made. First of all, I just want to remind the board that I believe, is this the 4th or the 5th year we have gone below the effective tax rate, which is unprecedented. This has been a fiscally responsible, and I would dare say even conservative, and been a good steward of taxpayer dollars, and that has been demonstrated, and we are attempting to do that again. So there's been no wasted spending, as far as I'm concerned, with Harris County Department of Ed. We've done the right thing, and that even people who have been adversaries to the department have given us accolades for being responsible with the tax rate. The second thing is to piggyback off of what Dr. Moore mentioned, is this is not a 10-minute decision. I mean, this board has been.
I've been mentioning this for several months.
I'm sorry, I thought it was my turn to talk.
Well, you're saying it's 10 minutes and it's been months.
Michael, let me finish, then I'll let you talk.
And so, this board has held administration very much accountable for seeking out and finding the right answers and the right way to go about things. And we've been very meticulous and thorough in doing that, and we've demonstrated that. I don't know that this decision to change a tax rate after we have proposed a tax rate that we were going to accept and send to the board, we've done workshops, we've had our pizza, we've done all of that stuff. To change it the day of the board in 15 minutes or something like that, I think that's irresponsible, specifically to the taxpayers and to the employees and the constituents who utilize the services here. And so I'm not sure why we're wanting to do this. I think we're doing what's fiscally responsible and the conservative thing to do. And I would just ask the board to support administration in improving the tax rate that's been proposed.
Go ahead.
Is this something that that has to be done today? When I say it has to be done today, it can't be postponed to the next board meeting?
What's the,
I'm just
Dr.
asking.
Mesco, isn't there a county, or Mr. Sumners, isn't there county implications on the tax rate for September?
Yeah, there is a time, sometime in October, that we need to submit it to the appraisal district.
To the tax
I'm
office.
sorry, the tax collection office, so they can send the statements.
Right.
So
And they usually give you 30 days from the time from when you receive the values.
my question, so is there a meeting before that, or can this be done at another time, or are we kind of stuck under the gun where it needs to be done today? That's my question.
No.
Okay.
Eric,
Let me answer this, because I was in line before Erica was. We don't have to do it today. There is a time limit for doing it, yes, but we haven't reached that time yet. Now, we have a motion before the board. It was seconded. We agreed that we were going to wait until Jesus came up with the rate. I'd be happy to help him verify that rate. And I think that we had already decided that we were going to move on at this point, because we do have a motion before the board that was seconded. And we need to find out what that rate is. In Michael's defense, for several months now, he has been asking what that rate was, and he has never gotten an answer.
Well, I think the answer's changed.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's changed or not. You haven't ever gotten a answer at any point in time.
Okay, well, right now, Michael, you had something you want to say?
I moved to call a question.
Well, I got some other people in line.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in line.
And after they do it, then I will entertain your motion. So, Trustee Lee, Carter, Erica.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President Evans. First, I didn't agree to wait till that number. Trustee Wolf has done many agenda items during his tenure on the board. If he had wanted to have that rate in the agenda, able to do so. So to say I've heard him bring it up, but I don't know how much follow through you did, because if you wanted that specific tax rate on the agenda, you would have been able to do that if you had stayed focused. So I don't buy this story about nobody answered me, blah, blah, blah. Second of all, I agree with Mr. Colbert. Our budget plan that came out, they provided it to us in May, had this September date as the tax rate meeting. We've known about this for 4 months, so to be like, oh, let's change it. Taxpayers who are watching online, they're expecting us to vote on a rate. This has been publicized. We had a special meeting. Jesus has worked on this. Our budget was based on it. I think this is completely irresponsible, especially when the range has gone from 500,000 to 750,000, and you don't even know what might have to be cut. You're saying it's a Hurricane Harvey, but there are many other things that might have to be cut.
We've got plenty of money.
And as far as I'm concerned, the Hurricane
It's not
Harvey
your
wasn't
turn,
completely
Trustee
zeroed
Wolf.
out. We just wanted more information. We just didn't approve it at the last time it came up. We didn't say we're not doing it at all. This is very irresponsible.
Okay, and then now, Diane, you're next.
I would concur with Trustee Carter. This is fiscally irresponsible. And the vote we are about to take, if you vote to put this off in any way, you are voting to be fiscally irresponsible. If you want that label, then go ahead. But I would suggest that we vote on what is before us, that we have agreed on before at this time, to live up to the standards that we should have on this board, to be fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Okay, now, Michael, you had a motion to call the question.
Yeah,
Still want to put that up?
yes.
Okay. I have a motion to call the question. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Okay, motion fails. Okay, any other discussion? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm up again. Just one other thing I would say, that if the decision is made to adopt a tax rate that would remove $750,000 from our current approved budget, that I would just say that we need to be prepared in future board meetings that we're going to be having to make decisions about what people to let go of, or what things that we promised the organization that we need to renege on. Because we're going to have to make more administrative and trustee level decisions to correct a budget that is now in a deficit budget model.
Well, before we get into the deficit budget model, I would like to hear from, maybe Dr. Meskel can't answer it right now, but what was the amount in the budget for the Harvey Fund?
Zero.
Zero? So nothing in the budget as we speak right now was going to be toward that?
Well,
All right. Yes, sir.
Well, that Harvey money, I think, was going to come out of reserves.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say is anything that would want to do that wouldn't be there because we reduced the tax rate could come out of reserves as well. And additionally, that's all I've got to say.
Okay.
I didn't understand that last part.
He said that if we take $700,000 away from your budget today, you have $750,000 you could have used for the Harvey. You could now take it out of reserve for whatever you do.
That's a bad business model. So we're just going to take money, because if
That's what you're going to do for that other
so the
item.
tax rate, that's a systemic change. And so our reserve is situational. And so if we cut the tax rate $750,000, then ultimately the overall budget of the department drops $750,000. Anything that needs to be supplemented that we choose to support and taking that out of fund balance, that is not a good business model at all.
We'd still have at least as much as we had coming in last year.
It's not a question of how much we have, but we will have a depleting fund balance. And so
That's what we were going to do if we were going to fund the Harvey relief funding.
that's not necessarily true.
Anybody else? Okay, so we have a motion to change the tax rate to, right now, an unknown number. And I think the problem, I agree with Trustee Moore, is that if Jesus does a quick calculation and it's wrong, it could be very detrimental.
Can we
to
move
the
this vote
department.
to the end of the meeting?
You know, I mean, if we're gonna consider this, we need to either vote it up or vote it down or postpone it. So the problem is that can I bring it to a vote without having a number? What's our board attorney say? Okay.
Can we
so
move the vote to the end of the meeting?
We're gonna have to postpone,
An actual number, I mean,
we're gonna have to postpone 7A to right before the executive session to give Dr. Mescla a chance to do his, at least tell us whether he has a number we can do.
To reassure the board, that number is not that hard to arrive at.
Well, right now we don't have it, so, okay. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna postpone A. I'm not gonna do 7A right now. I'm going to go to 7B. Anybody object?
No.
All right.
Sorry, technically in accordance with Robert's rules, you can't leave a pending motion open
So
like
what would
that.
you like me to do?
And so the easiest answer is for Mr. Wolf and Mr. Dick to agree to withdraw the motion at this time and to raise it at a later
Will
time.
you withdraw your motions at this time, agree to it, so I
Yes.
can move this on? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I'm okay. That's why I ask you. All right, so we're gonna withdraw the motions and we're gonna move on to 7B. Consider assigning a member of the HCDE board of the HCDE board as the Texas Association of School Boards TASB delegate and another as the alternate for the TASB annual assembly. Do I have a motion? Got a motion, I got a second? I got a second, do I?
Yeah, this is to recommend.
So we now need to have a discussion about who's gonna do it, and then we can, if we need to go back to a motion, we can, but does anybody wanna volunteer before we start appointing people? I think Eric volunteered, to be our delegate. Who else, who wants to be the alternate?
Well, Mr. President, it should be noted that a person doesn't have to, we don't have to have
Oh, we don't,
representation.
but he did volunteer.
Yep.
Volunteered last year and didn't go.
That was a good volunteer.
But you did say you liked Austin.
I do like Austin. I'm open to it.
All right, so we have Eric is volunteered to be the delegate. Does anybody want to be the alternate? Trustee Troutman, I know you said something about it. No? No?
I'll nominate you, Lewis.
Well, you can nominate me, I'm not going. So, we'll just have a delegate, okay? So I guess we will now, is everybody okay with that? Do we need a vote on this?
Yes, sir. Mr. Dick.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve Eric Dick as our delegate to the TASB conference. Do I have a second? Got a second? All in favor? There was like 5 of them. I heard Michael's voice, actually, is what I heard. I was looking at Dr. Troutman, but I heard Michael's voice. Okay. So it passes unanimously. Even Eric voted for himself.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll go to Austin. I like Austin.
Okay. All right. Consider acceptance of the notice of award for early Head Start Child Care Partnerships, EHS-CCP, from the Department of Health and Human Services, HSS, Administration for Children and Families. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion. Do I have a second? Got a second. Mr. Dick was the motion. Dr. Troutman was the second. Do I have any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Okay. Consider approval of the submission of the HCDE Area 1 Head Start 2019 continuation grant request. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Mr. Wolf. I got a motion by Mr. Dick. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 7-0. Consider approval of the Second Amendment to the lease agreement for Baytown Head Start located at 323 Massey Tompkins Road. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion.
Second.
Got a second. Okay, any discussion? Yes, ma'am. Trustee.
Yes. Do we think this will be the last extension, or do we have a?
We're getting Ms. Peacock to come up here and answer your question.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Yes, the purpose for this is for the financing of, with the owners of the property. We are on task and believe that we will take possession of the building in January, but it is an administrative function for them in terms of the loan. We are where we expect to be in terms of the actual project itself.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 7-0. List of teacher appraisers for the schools division. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Dick. Got a second by Dr. Moore. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, 7-0. Consider approval of service contracts for the job number 15/053 KJ for Choice Partners consulting services with the following vendors. And there's, do I need to read this? Okay. All in favor? Oh. I need a motion first.
So moved.
Got a motion. Got a second. Got a motion by Mr. Dick. I got a second by Dr. Troutman. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Passes 7-0. Consider approval service contract for job number 18/034 MR for Choice contracted services with the following vendors. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Wolf. Second. Got a second by Mr. Dick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion passes 7-0. All right, Mr. Musco, we're either going to have to postpone it after executive session or you're on. Are you ready for us? Huh? Let's do it after executive session? Okay. We're going to postpone 7A to be visited after executive session. So therefore, we're going to go into executive session now. Okay, under the Texas Government Code pursuant to any and all purposes permitted by sections 551.001 through 551.084, including but not limited to 551.071 and 551.074. It is now 2:12 and we are adjourned to executive session. It's 3 o'clock and we are back in session. Just so everybody knows what I'm going to do is I know the first few things that on the agenda will go, I think, fairly quickly, and then I will go back and revisit the one we had to postpone till afterwards. Okay? Okay, so 8A, the employment of the assistant principal at High Point East and the nurse at ABS East and High Point School. 9A. These glasses are driving me crazy. 9A. Motion on 9A.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Dick. Do I have a second? Second by Dr. Troutman. Do I have any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 7-0. All right, so we're going to go back and look at, I believe it's 7A. Is that correct? All right, so we're going to go back now and look at 7A.
Louis,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to move to postpone that until the October board meeting.
I have a motion to postpone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by, got a motion by Mr. Wolf. I got a second by Mr. Dick. Do I have any discussion? There's a surprise. Go ahead.
Dr. Amesco, what implications would that make to our current budget and even the staffing patterns at our campuses if we postpone the approval of the tax rate to October?
Well, the impact would be approximately $672,000 from what we projected into our budget. And so to address that, then we'd have to do a combination of reduction in force, a combination of cutback in our appropriations.
So, but I'm saying the motion was to delay the approval of the tax rate to next month.
We're within the time frame to be able to adopt it. Now, typically, taxing entities get about 60 days normally to be able to adopt the tax rate. Because if an entity is going to go increase the tax rate, they have to go through public hearings, so they give you time to do that. So if you don't have to increase the tax rate. You're just going to adopt below the effective tax rate. All you do is just adopt, have a meeting, and then adopt it. So we have some time to be able to do that, as long as we do it within the time frame that they're required for us to submit it to the appraisal districts. And I need to check what that exact date would be.
Yeah, that should be somewhere around the middle of October, based on the date that you got the roll in August.
So,
The middle of October might be before the next board meeting.
October 17th is the next board meeting.
yeah, so.
It's probably,
yeah.
Which is the middle.
It's about the, yes, because it's from the date that we receive the values, which received them in August around the 25th, 26th, in that time frame. So it's 60 days after that, so that puts us in the around October.
I guess my question, and I would ask you, Mr. President, perhaps other members of the board, that if this item were postponed, are we going to put together some budget workshops to discuss what the implications of any of the tax rates would be? I want to prevent from coming back in another board meeting and hearing and calculating a tax rate on your phone or your computer, that has implications towards taxpayer dollars. So will we be having budget workshop sessions? How would that work?
I would think if we postpone it, we need to do something other than just postpone.
Well, Don, you're the
Mr. Wolf,
budget
what you
chairman,
have
right?
in mind?
Yeah, I like that idea.
I think obviously that if we're going to consider a different rate, then that we'd have to consider maybe amending the budget.
Are you talking about people's livelihood here? Just go ahead and say it, Michael and Don.
That's not true.
You're talking about people losing jobs.
That is not accurate whatsoever.
That's not necessarily true.
Necessarily.
Okay,
Anyway, and it doesn't have anything to do. Do you have that letter that the official date that we got the roll? Do you know what that is?
Yes, we're looking for
Getting
that
it?
right now.
Okay. Well, 60 days from that date is normally the time that the jurisdictions have to pass their tax rate. I think that we're within that deadline there. So with our next meeting on the time. But I agree, we should not come here again without knowing a recommended tax rate that everybody is willing to consider. So.
well, we have a motion to postpone. I have a second to postpone. And do I have any more discussion?
Mr. President, I've got. Dr. Amesqua, just for a point of clarification, you said what that exact number was. Can you say that again?
672,000. 672,000.
Is what we would be cutting from our approved budget? Mm-hmm. What's that equate to? I would imagine if we withdrew that from the budget, subtract that from the budget, what would be the areas that you think we would probably cut?
I think that's what a budget workshop is for, isn't it, Jesus?
There would be a
I'm
combination
just asking
of things.
Point of clarification.
Yeah, we'd have to identify what are some of the major areas that we'd be able to target. Obviously, in any budget, the largest item is payroll, being in personnel.
Percent?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you couldn't just do supplies or other things without affecting somewhat payroll.
So just based on memory, I know when the board approved the budget this summer that ultimately there were a number of positions that were approved in that budget and we moved forward with filling those positions. I'm going to assume that if we go backwards and subtract $670,000 from the budget, we would probably have to get board approval to implement a RIF to terminate those people?
I believe that there is a timeline, and I'm looking at HR because in order to adopt the RIF, there's some certain timelines that you have to provide notice that before you adopt that. I'm not sure that we're beyond that time at this point in time.
Would the board need to approve for us to go into financial exigency to do that?
It'd be a program change or a
Right.
financial exigency under a reduction.
But you could address that at any budget workshop we have, right, Jesus?
Yes, but there's some timelines in terms of notice that are required to be provided to staff or to the personnel in order to do that.
Hang on, Erica wants to say something.
President Evans, Yes. I cannot understand why we've had a 4-month board budget process. The staff has had a 6, 7-month. And at the 7th hour, 11th hour, Trustee Wolf, Trustee Sumners, Trustee Dick are presenting something that creates a deficit where we had no deficit. I cannot understand something that is more fiscally irresponsible than this.
I've been asking for this
I
for
have
3 or 4
never
months.
seen this before. Other school districts actually have a deficit because they're having property tax issues and they have other budgetary issues. You are actually proposing something to create a deficit where there is none. When we were already proposing a rate below the effective, which I normally don't even vote for because Harvey, the property values for Harvey, the government is always delayed. Probably next year the values will be less and there'll be some challenges and the superintendent might have to propose the effective. I have no idea. This is completely political. It's completely outrageous.
And just for
Y'all can vote for it if you want, but this is embarrassing.
All right, Trustee Dick?
I don't necessarily support it. I just don't want to, I don't want to vote on something without having more information on it.
I agree.
That's all.
Question?
Sir? You're calling the question?
Yes, please.
All right. So all in favor of, I need a second.
We have to vote on calling the question.
Do I have a second? Got a second. So now to call the question. All in favor of calling the question, please raise your hand. I got one. All opposed? Okay. So motion fails.
Mr. Summers, how did you vote?
How'd you vote? All abstaining? He's abstaining. So we have 5, 1, and 1. All right, so where are we at now? We're still discussing, or we?
Discuss. The motion on the table is whether to postpone to the.
Motion's on the table, whether it's postponed. Do we want to? Okay, hi, go ahead. We need to do whether we're going to postpone it or not.
I don't think we've ever heard Trustee Wolf answer the question, why? Why out of all of this? Why, not why now, but why? What is it that you want to cut?
That's what a budget workshop would be for. I've been asking about this for about 3 or 4 months now.
No.
And we haven't gotten the answers. That's what I want the budget workshop
You're the
for.
only one. You're the only one that's bringing this up.
That's
So
not
what
true.
is it? Well, you're the only one that's voicing
I
it.
will say that he has asked for this for several months, and he has not been
okay.
given this information.
Okay, I've got that. He's asked for it. But why? Why do you want to, what is it that you think
I don't
needs to
think
be
there's
cut?
anything that's necessary for us to collect $672,000 more than last year.
You want to cut?
We can use budget reserves if we have to.
What do you want to cut?
That's what a budget workshop is for.
To answer the question because you know this is a political stunt, just like everything
No, you're
else you
being
do.
political by saying what you're saying right now.
Okay, folks, let's keep it civil.
I said question.
All right, anybody else have anything besides pointing fingers at each other? No? All right, yes, sir?
The rate that has been asked for is 0.005090.
Let's say that again.
0.005090, which would yield 672,000 less when we do the math. At 98.9% collection, assumes 100% of the value to be certified. So basically, all the certification, 98.9% collections, and to do that, it would be 0.005090, which is one tick below the recommended.
Okay, but right now we have a motion to postpone, not to discuss that. So right now, are we postponing, or are we going to withdraw that and talk about this? We're going to vote. Are we voting on postponing right now so that we don't
Yes.
need to discuss this? Well, are we going to postpone?
And all the postponing will do is give us more information next month.
All right, so anybody else have anything to discuss about postponing? No, okay. All in favor of postponing, please raise your hand. All opposed? Okay. Motion fails, 4-3, or 3-4. Okay, so we're now back on the rate, so would you please discuss the rate? We have a motion for that rate, we were just waiting for the number. Michael made a motion.
The rate is right here, it's .0050.
That was what Michael
So I
made
move
that-
to adopt the rate of .005090.
And we had a second by Don earlier. We were,
No, that
withdrew it.
that was
Okay.
a second by Eric earlier.
Are you still seconding it? Still second. So we have the motion for this rate, which is $672,000 less than we currently have budgeted for. We have a second. Do I have any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? All abstaining?
Was that two abstentions?
I couldn't see where Don
Don,
went.
what did you vote?
Okay, so we have four, so we have 1 for, 2 abstentions, 4 against. So it fails.
So now we're back to the original.
Now we're back to the original motion, or back to the original one.
There's no motion now.
Now we need to see about having a motion. Do I have a motion for 7A?
I second it.
I got a motion by Dr. Troutman. I got a second by Trustee Wolf. Do I have any discussion? Trustee Dick, I'm sorry. 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 Trustee Dick. Okay. Do I have any discussion for that?
Can the motion please state the rate?
Point,
0.005190 as according to the agenda item we have. Is that correct?
Yes. That's my motion. Oh,
And the effective rate, just so everybody knows, the effective rate was calculated at .005279. Okay? Any questions? Any other discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Okay, so we have, it passes 6-1. Do I have any other?
May I make a comment, please?
Yes, sir, please.
Regardless of the motive or whatever, I will give Trustee Wolf credit for bringing this up over the course of time. I think that what we need to do next time is look at various alternatives when someone brings something up so that there is some time to evaluate it. And I certainly am not for trying to change something at the last minute. That just is not prudent in my mind. Now, I'm always for lowering the tax rate, but I want to make sure we do it in a prudent way and make sure what is going to get cut and make sure that it's done methodically, and we do discuss that. And I think at next year's workshop, we definitely need to look at different alternatives, whether we adopt them or not. But it needs to be done in the workshop and not at the last minute that we come and make changes.
Well, I would like to see, if Mr. Wolf, I know this thing we passed it, but if you have some concerns about some expenditures or whatever, then why don't we have a budget meeting of some sort, and we can certainly go back and look and see as far as what we feel would be prudent for the department. If we could see some areas to cut, then that would be something we could do. Okay, so I think that would be something we could look at. But I think today we did we've passed it, but I would like to go back and let's look. And I said, and I know Don, you're the tax guy, and so why don't we work with Jesus and let's put something together so we can see, because we don't want to hurt, we've given raises, we don't want to hurt the department, but we also don't want to hurt taxpayers.
Right.
I mean, we're being, I think, responsible by both passing, but also let's go
Right.
back and look at our numbers one more time.
Sure.
All right?
There was a question about the rate for the allocation ratio for collection of the taxes, and that's the rate right there, .0019500012, which is less than 2% of the entire. We got this a allocation from the appraisal district that basically includes every taxing entity, and that's the ratio for us. So it's the same as it was last year.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Wait a second.
Go ahead.
Since we're just offering information here, in the year, for the tax year 2012, the tax rate was changed on the very last day at the meeting.
So
That's happened,
2012?
that's happened multiple times, Don.
Okay, anybody else? If not, do I have a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? We're adjourning. Motion passes 7-0.